know what time it is. Don't you like that brand new intro I got? It actually kind of blows, but it's the only one I can find at the moment. And, hey, we do what we ever have to do, but I'll find another one. What I need me is one of those. Actually, you need to get to work on this, and I know you can hear me. Is I need a band. I need like how Jimmy Fallon has like the his crew. I need that. It's not gonna happen, but it'd be kind of cool. Anyway, hey everybody, good evening. It's Tuesday night. I'm Lee. You're listening to the Overland Radio Show, or actually, you might be watching it. We have a cool guest on tonight. I'm not sure where he's at. I didn't have enough time to ask because he was a slacker and didn't get in time. But we'll give him a little bit of a hard time about that later. No, he's fine. But before we get going, quick shout out to our sponsors, Overland Attic, Midland USA, and Rugged Bound. We really appreciate all that you do to help us keep this going. And so anyway, without further ado, let's bring Ashley in here. Shouldn't we? Maybe. I don't know. What do you think? I can't hear you.
There it goes. Okay, I fixed it.
Oh, Jesus, here we go. It's going to be one of them nights, y'all.
You
I'm
know
telling you
what?
right now. I don't know if y'all got alcohol, but let's go ahead and do mandatory whiskey shots. If you got something, go ahead and take it because obviously Ashley's wait, you don't have whiskey.
No, but I can get whiskey really fast.
Wait, what are you drinking? What is it?
It's just sweet tea.
I thought I taught you better.
You know what?
Anyway,
too bad.
That's beside the point. All right, hey.
The fact that you said we need a band, I could fix that. We can get my kids to play the clarinet and the flute real fast.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard no. I'm gonna have to.
Emma and I are trying to learn how to play the guitar, so at some point we'll play.
Well, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good. Battling attention headache, so you're lucky I'm on tonight.
Well, there's lots of ways you can get rid of that, but we won't talk about that.
Okay, it's work related. Related.
I thought maybe it was Jeff. I was just going to tell you to take him out back.
I think that could be an option too. With his work crap that's lasted 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's needed.
You and I both missed the first polar bear camp out.
We did.
You guys had things going on that prevented you to go. Mm-hmm. I had planned on going, but Saturday I was taking care of wife and 2 kids that were sick. Well, one, he was getting better. And then I actually thought, oh man, maybe I should leave Saturday afternoon and just go on up there and camp. And I was like, I don't know that I feel the greatest. Boy, 2:00 Sunday morning. Holy smokes.
And I'm sorry you had it.
I'm finally on the downhill part of it, but anyway, but that's okay. I'm not worried about it. It happens. We got a cool guest tonight.
I know. I'm excited.
I'll tell the story in a minute about how he and I connected. It's kind of funny, but
oh Lord,
I can't tell. Let me rephrase that. I can tell part of the story. I'm contractually bound to not share the entire story as to how we met.
That's okay, because he's going to tell it.
No, he can't tell it either because he's contractually bound too.
Okay, then y'all both get to tell me later, and then I'll decide if I get to tell it. I'm not
No,
bound.
that's not how this works. I'm plucking the chicken around here. This ain't how it works. So anyway, let's see if I can make. So I set up a whole new. Screw it. Let's just figure it out here. So hey, tonight we got Kelly from Adventure Built. If you haven't seen his videos, I'm not sure what you're doing, but he's all over the place. But here's Kelly.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Kelly, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. First time I get to meet with you, so I'm excited.
Welcome to the show, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So let me tell the backstory. I'll do my best to tell the backstory. You may have to interrupt me and tell me.
Remember, you can't tell too much.
I know, right? That's exactly. I had to catch myself.
I need to know.
So
I need to know.
So Kelly and I ended up. We have a mutual friend. See, this is the part that's going to make it real strange. But we have a mutual friend who reached out to us to ask us if we would help with something that they had going. Yeah, that's how that goes. And then we all got together virtually, and that's where Kelly and I met. And so we started talking, one thing or another. Then as I'm publishing some newsletters, I'm like, who am I going to feature in the newsletter this round or whatnot? Then I was like, hey, Kelly, he's got a great channel. Let's do a whole write-up on him. So we did a whole write-up on him.
Which was awesome, by the way.
Made him sound like God.
Don't make his head bigger than what it already is.
Oh, whatever.
No, I have to give credit where credit's due. That was a great write-up.
Well,
made me sound way better than in this fantasy world that I live in with Lee's head, apparently.
Well, yeah. Well, plagiarize that baby and use it. But so anyway, we just talked and I was like, hey man, you know what? You just need to come do a show with us and tell us about all the stuff you do. And I'm really interested in hearing like how you got to. Okay, well, let's back up. Where are you? Are you up north or are you down south?
Nope, I'm in Montana right now. I retired from Arizona, no longer live in Arizona, and living in Montana full time now.
Okay, so when did you leave Arizona?
About 10 months ago.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So we lived
recently retired.
We lived in the Phoenix Valley for like 7 years.
Okay. Yeah, I was from the Valley.
Okay.
Yeah, that was there for 25-ish years, and yeah, that was enough. That was plenty.
Yeah, from October to Easter, awful.
Yeah.
Everything takes like 30 minutes more to get anywhere. It is horrible.
Yeah. I do not like, there's a lot of positives about Arizona. There's so much off-roading. You can get out in backcountry so quickly and get out and just do so much.
Yeah.
But the summers are just horrific.
Yes.
And at some point, water is going to be a major issue in the valley. I was just talking, I got buddies in town. Actually, I spent the whole day today snowboarding with my youngest son, and my buddies, I'm like, they're still in the valley. And I'm like, you guys really take stock of their situation there, because Arizona is going to be a real hurting soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to fly in and out of Sky Harbor there in Phoenix, and I'd step off the airplane and go, what the heck?
So fun fact, they don't really publicize a whole lot, working with what I did in Arizona. When it gets so hot, aircrafts have a certain amount of, loft you need, lift, especially helicopters, more so than airplanes. But when it's so hot, you actually don't get those lifts. So there's airplanes that have a really hard time taking off, larger aircraft. But there's helicopters that when they take off of rooftops, they actually launch off the rooftop and they'll actually drop down just to catch lift to take back off again. So that's heat.
Yeah, those air molecules, when it's hot, they go further apart, so it reduces the lift. Whereas in the cold, the air molecules are close together.
Right.
30 years behind. 30 years and 30
again with that head. Stop it.
Yeah.
we gotta keep him like on point here.
I know 30 years behind the controls of an airplane for people has a tendency to like embed things in your head and you remember.
Yeah, for sure.
You just leaving out of flag or even Flagstaff sometimes the altitude, but yeah, Phoenix Sky Harbor, that was the hottest damn place I ever go to get an airplane in and out. And I mean, I'm like, hurry up, get in the plane. Let's get it started. I'm ready to go. But yeah, so you're in Montana now, which, by the way, I still need your address so that I can come hang out and fish, because apparently you have a stream in your backyard now.
A river in my backyard.
You have a river.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming just to camp. I'm just coming to come to camp.
You weren't invited. I invited myself.
I don't care. I just invited myself. I'm bringing the cricket, and we're just going to set it up, and you won't even know we're there.
The cricket is an empty shell right now.
It's only halfway empty.
I know. I'm just teasing.
So we actually have just over 10 acres, and my wife is trying to convince me to bring some of my overland buddies up to Montana to kind of like let them stay on the property and take you on some trips. And I'm like, do you have any idea how many hours I'm gonna have to spend? Because I haven't really done anything around here. I've been so busy. I'm doing a full gut job remodel in the cabin we bought. And I'm like, I'm so busy. I don't have time to go out and do a bunch of trails. You know, the ones I like to hit are super close by. So and I'm like, I will spend hours exploring just to have something for these guys to do when they're here. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe not,
You know what? We'll take the real easy close trails. We don't care.
Right.
This is just to get out.
I got a better solution for you, Kelly. You pre-qualify your friends
This is true.
based on skill sets.
There you go.
You invite 10 of them that have good construction skill sets. And as part of their reward, they get to stay there
and help me build
and help you build yeah. And get the property ready.
We did a full kitchen remodel. I volunteered my husband to help you. So
perfect.
He's remodeling the kitchen and the Cricut. So there you go.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, just bring your friends that know that have certain skill sets that can help you out and get it done. That, you know, it's a win-win. They get up there.
Another good idea.
So do it.
We'll give him that one.
One.
And that's only because I'm benefiting too.
So too funny. So if you haven't seen Kelly's YouTube channel, and it's funny, you don't do Facebook. I
have a Facebook group. I mean, it's not like.
Uh-oh, what happened?
He froze.
Oh no.
Yep. But I love the facial expression.
I do too. It looks like he's trying to squeeze one out.
Okay, I was gonna say sneeze.
No.
There you
go. Sorry, I'm on Starlink, and sometimes, you know, with the cold, it gets a little spotty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. Well, you froze, and the way you looked, I told Ashley, I said, it looks like he's about to squeeze one out.
I said, look like you were gonna sneeze. I was being nice.
The screen went black, and I'm like, again.
You know, so far I have to say I've been pretty lucky or fortunate with Starlink when I use it on trips, and it's done. I think it's done really well, but I don't use it every day. So,
we lost him again.
Yeah. Well, he's probably being hammered with, I'm gonna guess, some snow and some other stuff. So I'm sure he'll pop in and out, but it'll all smooth out in the end. I'm not too terribly worried about it, but I did go check out if you haven't seen there he is. If you haven't seen his, I just keep talking. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
act like I'm not here.
Yeah. So you don't do much on Facebook. I couldn't find you on Twitter. You're heavily. No, Twitter is actually becoming a really solid platform. Some of the stuff they're doing. As a matter of fact, this is live on Twitter right now.
Okay, but Kelly and I are on the same page here. We're good.
Yeah. So anyway, very active in his Instagram. I mean, really active in his Instagram and his YouTube channel. And you do some great videos. What got you? I mean, what got you there? What started you? Damn, he froze again.
So, like, I was on earlier.
Again.
Oh, that's okay.
What got you started, Kelly, into the YouTube stuff?
So it was actually kind of a funny story. So about, I don't know, a little over 3 years ago, I had a BMW 1200 GSA adventure bike.
Yeah.
And my buddy Joe and I were doing the whole Arizona BDR from Mexico border all the way to Utah. And on our first leg, I had my GoPro set up in the back of my bike, and my buddy Joe was behind me, and he was just being a jackass on the bike, just kind of bouncing around and doing some funny stuff. So I had this 2-minute clip of him just doing this little jump and, you know, just being kind of funny on the bike. And he's like, oh, dude, send me that. I want to show people. And I'm like, okay. So I tried to text it to him and email, and nothing worked. So I was like, all right, I'll just put it on YouTube. You can show your friends, and then when you're done, let me know and I'll delete it.
Right.
Well, I put it up there, and it started like just getting views, and it was like 2.5 minute long, little stupid, you know, little clips of him just being a jackass. So then our next, and we were doing it in segments. So we'd do like a long weekend. So our next trip, I put a little bit more up, and then a little bit more up. And then after that trip, I didn't really do much, but then I just started doing our moto trips just to have something for us to see. And it just kind of snowballed from there, where I stopped doing moto trips and focused more on the Tacoma build. So my brother and I, we built his 4Runner on the channel. We built my Tacoma on the channel. And And then we went out and just did great adventures and product review. And it's really just kind of snowballed completely out of just people watching it, just the viewership. So I've got a great tribe of people that really like the channel, and I just keep doing it for them.
Yeah.
So what year is your Tacoma?
2020.
2020. Very nice.
Yep. Yeah. 3rd gen. So it started off, I have a 2nd gen Tacoma. It's a 2013. And I got a Yakima rooftop tent, and I did a trip with my youngest son and my wife. We went to the Grand Canyon, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I'm used to sleeping on a tent on the ground, backpacking, adventure moto riding, and this whole like a tent in the sky. It's awesome. So it kind of, it's just that like, ooh, I want more of this, more of this, more of this. So that was the progression.
Very nice. So I did start it the same way, ground tent camping. And then we got our 4Runner and went to the rooftop. I was like, I'm never going back to a ground tent.
Right.
And then legitimately like a month ago, my husband bought a Gazelle tent. And he's like, it's for the kids. They're getting older, I'm like, I'm not getting back in there, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we were actually camping at the Grand Canyon, and it poured. Like we were in like big tents. We were family camping. We had another couple with us, and it poured. We had a big monsoon come through, and we actually borrowed people from other campsites their shovel to dig a trench around our tent, and it still got full of water. And then after that, my wife saw like, I don't know if I like this whole camping thing. So, the rooftop tent was like the evolution of that. And I was like, oh, well, now there's never going to get water in the tent again. So it's perfect.
Your wife and my wife sound the same. I grew up camping, hunting, fishing, grew up, I lived on the coast of Georgia there on the barrier islands and camped all the time. And so camping to me was no big deal. All I ever camped in was a tent. Right. Or ground tent. And she's like, okay, well, let's do this. I'm like, okay, fine. She goes, I'm going to get us a tent. And I thought, oh my God, here we go. She's going to go buy a tent. She bought a tent. She bought a freaking yurt. And so
that's a tent technically.
Technically, yeah. So it's like this big yurt tent, right? We take it, we go camp. It's got 2 big blow up queen size mattresses in it for the kids on one and us on the other. And they got the dog, and she wakes up about 4:00 in the morning. It's freezing cold. She goes, nope, not having this.
I tried it.
About a month later, we had a new camper trailer.
So, like my first real camping experience was in Payson.
Yeah.
And we were in like a little camp. We were visiting my husband's grandmother up north, and so we were in like the 55 and older areas, but we were just camping out next to our house. And a freaking raccoon decided it really wanted to get in the tent. And I'm like, nope, we're done. We're not doing it. This is not for me. And then it finally moved on, like wanted to play with a soda can down the road. And I was like, I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah. So you can check that box.
Yes. Yeah. Rooftop all the way. Nothing's going to get me.
Yeah.
So when you go to the shows, is that your brother now that we see in the videos with you a lot? Yep. Is that okay? That is your brother.
Yep,
you guys kind of favored each other, but I mean,
yeah, we have that whole brotherly rivalry thing going on. So we're always, kind of picking on each other and taking opposite sides of things just to battle it out.
Yeah. But I do like how you just, hey, I'm going to pick this is what I'm going to do. And this is it. It's not long. It's not drawn out. It's not overly, I don't know. What do you call it? It's just not too detailed. It's just, here's the products. This is why I like it. Here's how you find them. And then on to the next one. And to me, I like that. It works. And obviously it must be working for other people because you're growing.
Yeah. I mean, I really like my brother and I were both like super gear nerds. We started off kind of rock climbing, you get into all that gear, and then mountain climbing, getting into that gear, and snowboarding. Yeah. So just big gear nerds. And then obviously with overlanding, you can really, sky's the limit for being a gear nerd. Mm-hmm. So going to the expos, that all started off with just a GoPro, just going out and just kind of doing the whole like, oh, look at that. It took me a long time to actually get in front of the camera. So short story, I actually went to SEMA. I snuck into SEMA. I got like a pirate badge, and it was like 8 years ago. I went to SEMA, and I'm sorry, not 8 years, like 5 years ago. I went in with my GoPro and was like, oh, I want to do some actual interviews.
Yeah.
And tried to get in front of the camera and do the actual, like an interview type. Couldn't do it, chickened out. And so then at the expos, I started getting more comfortable with it and get in front of the camera. But again, that's a whole other thing. Is you can be behind the camera all you want. Getting in front of the camera is a whole different thing.
Oh, yeah. It is. So what's so funny is I hate being in front of the camera, but I do this every week.
Right.
But I won't do like any other videos.
Yeah, you do. We did live. We did live at Big Brutus.
I will only do it for the radio show. I won't do it for myself.
But you were drunk, though. I forgot about.
I was not drunk. I was
intoxicated.
Hey,
I was mellow.
Listen, it's your lie. You tell like you won't, but we know you were drunk because we know
I got witnesses.
What was your husband? He was drunk.
No, my husband was drunk and high, and that was your fault.
Somehow or another, I always get drug into the whole, everybody, misery loves company, Kelly. This is how it works around here. I get drug into it.
I thought it was more of those like with great responsibility kind of things,
Yeah, well, I get accused of a lot.
Well, okay. So what he's talking about, my husband had a broken ankle, and we still like went to this overland event, and there was live music, and he was doing stupid shit already before Lee gave him a gummy. So he was drunk, and then, Lee made him even more relaxed.
That's like a force multiplier.
It was. Michael, thank you so much for the compliment. I appreciate it. Yeah, I love that I'm more attractive than Lee.
He's just he's probably drunk too. But
hey, what the hell? What the hell?
I'm just teasing. Anyway, so I have to agree with you. When you first start out, it's very intimidating, which is funny because if you watch a lot of these people that do what you're doing right now, I think most every one of them relates to that initial part of getting in front of that camera, and that's the anxiety, the oh my gosh, I'm gonna screw up, but who cares, because the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more comfortable you become, and people will start to follow. It just seems like a natural progression.
So at the expos, like I really love all the product, like I said, big gear nerd, but Diode Dynamic, I'm sure you've heard of those, their light company.
Yes.
So they have like this big, like awesome trailer, this big sales booth with like 8 employees there. And there's this kid out there, and this was probably 3 expos ago at West. And he is just, hey, how's it going? Check this out, blah, blah, just super dynamic. And I'm like, oh, I want to interview this kid. Like, he is just super energetic. And I'm like, hey, would you mind doing an interview with me about this light here? And he's like, oh yeah, man, you got it. High five, And I'm like, all right, cool. Get the camera all set up, get him all mic'd up, turn that camera on. And he's all, hey, my name is Mike. And I just, he actually cried. Like, he's like,
oh,
dude, I just can't do it. And he like ran off. And I'm like, can I get my mic back? And so, but
dude, I've been trying to get Craig from Diode to come on the show for 4 years. I've partnered with. Yeah, I mean, I buy lights from him. I've Craig, please. I've even tried to ambush him at the expos.
Why would he not want to come on?
He said, he's like, I don't have a face for that. And I was like, okay, well, neither do I, dude. Look at me.
Hello, podcast. It's not
right.
Yeah. But anyway, so I've tried to get him to, and usually I end up with some of the other guys, but he's got a great crew that works for him, and that trailer
it's sick, right?
Oh,
and
it's amazing.
Awesome. Like I got their lights really early on in my build.
Yep.
And I've converted all my lights to their lights.
Yeah, that's all I run.
So that's all I run on the 4Runner. And then, so my son is 15 and he's got a 2nd gen Tacoma that we're starting our build on, and he's going to run Diode on it.
Nice. Yeah, they're good. They're really, really good.
They are. And actually, have you got some rock lights yet?
Dude,
I actually just got rock lights.
Did you?
I'm going to flip you off so bad, Lee. I'm just going to. Kelly, if you see him, just
stay away. No,
oh my God.
last year.
I'll be down in Oklahoma in this summer.
All right, yeah.
Perfect.
Hey, are you coming to More Expo in April?
I don't know.
Come on. You
Yes.
need to come to the More Expo in April, because I think if you come to the More Expo,
yeah,
the idea of what you and most people think of as an expo goes right out the door.
I'm really gonna have to. It's just being
it's
in Montana
a long
now.
way.
It's a long haul. Yeah,
it is. But make the best of it when you get here. One of the things you got to do is just go right down south of us a little bit to the Ozarks and do some wheeling, and it's wheeling like you've never done before.
They're tight.
Never.
They're smaller.
It's rocky.
So
it's wet.
Okay.
River crossings, and
talking my game now.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally camp next to the waterfalls, don't you, Ashley?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on my bucket list, and I'm retired now, so you know.
Yeah, there you go. Just load the wife. Does she like to go with you much?
She does. She has a limit though. Nothing in Colorado. She's tried the big mountain passes with the cliff edge stuff freaks her out. And she's like, nope, nothing in Colorado. So she might be down for the Ozarks though.
Oh, I think she'd love it. There's actually, if she likes to drink wine, there's a neat little trail that we could give you.
She likes wine.
And it's a day. It takes about a day, and you hit all these little wineries through the Ozarks, and you go through the winding roads and pull into the wineries and all that. I can hook you up with that and give you that. Yeah, it's a beautiful little place.
That sounds like a sale.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so anyway, what, I got to ask this. I would love to move to Montana. As a matter of fact, my LLC business is registered in Montana because there's some really nice tax benefits.
Yeah.
So, but what made you want to move to Montana? I mean, it's got to be cold as all get out right now, isn't it?
Another kind of funny story. So my wife is an Arizona native. She's only ever lived in Arizona, only knows all her family's from there. And I was like, look, babe, I love you, but I can't live my existence in Arizona. Like I have to leave this state, you know? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm down for that. So we started looking, we looked into like the Salt Lake area, just to be like, you know, still deserty, but still trees.
Right.
And it wasn't quite forested enough. Then we went to Bend, Oregon, which was great. We just had there was just outside influence issues with being that close to Portland and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Bend
we can say it. We're not politically correct here. It's they're a bunch of left liberal crazies out there.
Yeah,
not everywhere, because I did go through Oregon and met this lady in John Day. It's called John Day. And I didn't know you had to pump gas, or you couldn't pump gas.
Right.
And I asked her, I was like, why is this? And this lady she's probably 70. She came unhinged. Not necessarily me, but the whole process about how, anyway. So anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So then we were looking at Idaho and kind of just getting further north. And we were seeing these places and they're beautiful. And I'm like, well, babe, like Idaho's right here, but you know, Whitefish is like right here. And we already have my buddy Joe's up here. So we actually did a summer backpacking trip up here in the Bob Marshall Wilderness area outside of Whitefish. Yeah. And she was just all like, all right, I can do this, you know?
Yeah.
And then we found this property and it was just, we came here, we actually bought in the wintertime, which is pretty unusual for Montana.
Wow.
And just totally fell in love. It was big trees and the river and it was just magical, you know, and the log home. And it was, so she fell in love right away. And timing was perfect.
That must be like an Arizona native thing, because my husband's born and raised in Arizona, but he wants to go to Montana so bad. Like he wants where he wants to live.
There's nothing here I do not like. Even when it was last week, it was negative 45 degrees here on the property. And I'm like, well, I don't have to leave to go to work. I can just hang out so I spent the whole day editing, you know, I'm like, okay, it's just the way it is.
Nope. See, he's been complaining about cold. So that's a negative to Montana. Sorry, honey.
Now, Kelly, do you know who this guy is right here on the screen that I put up? Adam Wood.
I don't know.
Have you ever heard of Step 22 gear?
Yes, I know Adam. Okay. Yes, I do know Adam. Okay.
Adam, it takes a minute. You got to do first and
Adam-
last name.
Adam
What's up,
is
buddy?
Adam's he's my homie, man.
He's such a good dude.
I was actually thinking today, I was like, man, I need to FaceTime Adam, because Adam and I, we talk at least once, or we try to talk once or twice a week, and just, I mean, whatever, but love some Adam, man. He's an awesome dude. So
yes.
And I'll tell you what, Step 22, I have their tool roll. They have a garment bag. Just good.
The pangolin is,
there you go.
the pangolin is just that. And then I have the stingrays. I have hedgehog. I don't
remember all the names.
Okay, y'all are making me feel bad because I don't have any Step 22 gear. So now Adam's going to yell at me.
You're missing out.
Adam, did you hear what she said?
I want the tool roll, but like, Adam, I'm sorry.
Chad carries them. Chad carries everything.
So I'm sure you guys knew this, but I didn't know this until interviewing Adam, that every item is named after like an endangered animal.
Yeah.
And like a bunch of the, he sends money to protect that animal, for those sales. I'm like, dude, how come you don't advertise that more? That's awesome,
Oh yeah. Well, people would totally buy it for that reason alone.
Yeah, he does. He does. It's on his website, but yeah, he sucks at social media. Oh man, I can just see him right now.
Yeah, you are.
He's already fired me, so
he's texting you right now.
Yeah, I'll probably get a message to him. Yeah. Adam sucks at social media.
Yeah. What'd you say about my mama?
Anyway, yeah, he does, and he makes great products. And so, speaking of products, what's one of the products that you have come across? You can't say Adam because that's a given. Right. What's one of the products you've come across in your expo adventures where you've, made a video that you ended up purchasing and feel like, hey, man, this was like one of the best buys I've had?
Best buys or best products?
Best products.
It seems nothing overland community related is inexpensive anymore.
That's the tax. It's the overland tax.
Yeah.
So overland tax is like airplane tax. If you buy an alternator for a car, it's one price. But if you buy that same alternator and it goes on an airplane, but it has a sticker on it that says certified, then it's 3 kids price. You got to give up 3 kids. So yeah, that's a tax.
Well, I would say, since we've been talking about rooftop tents earlier, I would say if you want to get into overlanding and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go all in, but I want to go all in big money, but safe. I would say a rooftop tent is definitely the way to go, because resale on rooftop tents, I mean, I would say if you bought like a brand new, like 23-0, like an Armadillo tent, and you were like, okay, I paid $3,400 for this tent. And you're like, you got it. You can put it in your truck. You take it out for, a whole summer, and you're like, I'm just not getting the use out of it, or my wife hates it, or, whatnot. You could probably go and turn that around and sell it on Marketplace for $3,000, $2,800. So I think it's a big investment as far as resale. It's still there, And you can't say a lot of that about most gear. Once you buy it, you're really going to own it. There's nothing, there's no like resale market for a lot of that gear.
Yeah.
So rooftop tents are great places to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And Justin, shout out to him, Justin at 23-0. He makes great products.
Yeah.
And he's a little bit on the crazy side, but you gotta love
crazy
some
Aussie.
Yeah, you gotta love some Justin. What's something else? What's a small product that you carry with you now that you've come across that you won't go camping without it? Like for me, it's I love the Guzzle H2O.
Right.
Hands down. I just, I think it's one, in the wintertime, it's obviously a diesel heater, but, because the water freezes.
I actually just got my first diesel heater.
Did you really? What'd you get?
Just got it. I actually cannot remember the name off the top of my head, but it's one of the ones where it's the Pelican case kind of.
The high core things or whatever, the black one.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I got that
Yeah.
one.
It's still in the garage. I haven't opened the box yet. I need to get it all set up, but I want to do a trip. I just got a new tent, so I'm going to go test it out.
Jeff says he's spoiled with a propane fire pit. Actually, that's a good one because there's a lot of places that they're not doing the fire thing anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
and say we have camped in multiple places where there's fire bans, and there, you can't stay warm without something. So we love the fire pit, but my other one is the Devos lights.
Oh,
Yeah,
Those,
I
the
can't.
Light Ranger?
Yep.
Yes, I
Yeah,
can't go
they're
without
awesome.
my Devos lights.
Yeah.
Jennifer says her favorite Best Buy was her collapsible stool, holds 500 pounds.
It's like
Dear
this
God.
little. It scrunches up.
Is that one of those? Okay, I know what
Yes,
you're
it's
talking
one of
about. The
those.
collapsible.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that thing. No.
She took it to the drive-in movie one time with us, and I was like, "Nope, I'm not getting on it. My ass will fall off."
All right, Kelly. Now that you've heard all this banter back and forth, what's the product that you would carry that you can't leave to go camping without?
So I think right now, being it's actually warmed up quite a bit here, but last week being negative, 40 degrees, I actually got a firewood holder. It's called like the Wood Gator from Stowed Gear.
Yep.
It's a completely wrap around. It keeps all because like firewood it's kind of a pain to deal with.
Mhm.
But that thing is just, you kind of wrap it all up, and it's, you don't have to worry about things falling out and making a big mess everywhere. That thing's super cool. And then the lava
The firebox.
the fire pit. It's like a and fire pit type deal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Super cool. Everything to do with heat now. I actually like those are literally whenever I'm working on the truck now out in the pole barn, because I don't have like a full shop yet. It's sitting right next to me running, so I can just kind of put my hands over it and then work on the truck and put my hands over it. And yeah, it's anything to do with heat now is very important to me.
Isn't that funny how it's come full circle because
It's all by the season.
you were in the heat going, I gotta get out of the heat. Now you're I get it. Jennifer says that Sean. Logic Overland coffee. Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah, if you're a coffee connoisseur, which I'm not, but it's okay. These guys probably make some of the best coffee around, and I don't know if you've ever heard of it or had it, but
I have not. I'll check it out.
So when you come to Moore, I will go take you to their booth and make you drink all of it, because
perfect.
I am addicted to the Canyon Craig coffee. But yes.
What's the one that has the whiskey? It's the bourbon.
The Wise Willie.
Wise Willie. Mm-hmm. And there's a cool story behind every one of these. So if you go when we're done, if you want, go look up Logic Overland.
Okay.
They have stories about every name, and then they have an artist that creates the label, and you put all the stories together, right? Ashley, am I telling this right? And they all kind of.
Every story is based off of like their camp experiences where they've gone camping together, and these two guys that created the business. So they'll just bullshit and they'll tell each other, make up a story as we're going. So they were at Paladuro Canyon and they came up with Canyon Craig. So the artwork has the little lighthouse trail in it. So you could see the little lighthouse rock formation in the back, and it's this whole story as how Canyon Craig came to be and the shit he gets into. And then there's Wise Willie and his drinking and a whole bunch of other ones. So, yeah.
I always think of Wise Willie as Willie Nelson.
He looks kind of like Willie Nelson.
That's exactly why, because he kind of looks like Willie Nelson on there. It's just anyway. Well, I'll digress. But, Steve says he likes some Wise Willie for the win. So, that's another good one is coffee. But, the lava box.
The lava box is cool.
Yeah. So cool.
So what what rooftop tent do you use now? Do you got a 23-0 or what do you use?
I got a 23-0, the Armadillo X-frame.
Yeah.
So it's the plastic hardtop that kind of comes out.
Yeah.
I just think for your footprint, that is the best use of space, because it's got the little, 2/3 platform that comes out. Mm-hmm. So it's a smaller footprint when it's closed up, but then it opens up to nearly a queen size bed. So it's a lot of space. Yeah.
I got some really good video of Justin and some pictures. that I did a few years ago. I'll have to send a couple of, I sent them to him, but I had a picture of him coming out of one of the, it was at Expo West, had him coming out of one of the rooftop tents, and he was laying down under the blanket or whatever he had in there, and he rolls it out and he's looking out like this. And I took a picture of it and I put the big speech bubble up and said, honest officer, it wasn't my weed. I didn't post it on the internet, but I started to, and he's like, I'll kill you. So, anyway,
he's another character. He's a good dude.
Oh yeah, he's a great dude. Funny. Yeah. I mean, he's funny as all get out. So there's a lot of good folks. Who's somebody you've met, influencer, product manufacturer, whoever, who's somebody you met out there that's really stuck with you? Somebody that just their personality, their demeanor, their whatever it was, but man, it really made an impression on you.
Susan from Demos.
Really?
Yeah.
She is a rock star, man.
She is. I met her.
I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't expecting that, but she is absolutely a rock star.
Yeah, she just, I met her at the expo, and I did an interview with her about her shovel. Yeah. And just over the years, she's always been a great person just to go back to, and just always super energetic. She kind of stops whatever she's doing to talk to me and hang out with me. And actually, I saw her at SEMA, and she's been doing great stuff with SEMA, and she's just one of those, like, just super positive. Like, she's always just sending me text messages, and and she asked me to do a favor for her to edit video clips of stuff. Yeah. And she's just like one of those people that comes to mind when you say, like, someone who's just really just kind of super positive and just super supportive. And she's just, she super tiny, small company that she's really just, I mean, it's on almost every rig out there pretty much, like just really taking it well beyond what someone with just only a few employees could really, you'd think she'd be able to do. But yeah, she gets after it. Yeah,
it's impressive. She's impressive too. Yeah. Yeah. I've had several conversations with her, and yeah, she's actually, who's somebody that now you can't say me, I get it.
Let's not go there.
Who's someone who's got a overland adventure podcast that lives in Oklahoma that's got a beard?
Come on. I'm like being thrown right underneath the bus here. Besides Kelly, obviously, and we're not even going to discuss Lee and his bull crap.
Yeah. Kelly's your new favorite? Is that how it is?
Kelly's definitely my new favorite.
Kelly, don't get used to it, because last week it was somebody else.
Obviously. The real test will be at more.
There you go.
My thing is, I'm like really upset that you moved from Arizona 10 months ago, because we were there back in November.
Oh,
we
really?
didn't have a car, and I was so like, I need somebody to come get me and take me on trails. I need to get the hell away from my in-laws. Right. Love them, but we were there too much, and I needed an escape. And I was like, I need to go hit trails. I don't care if we just go get a car, but we need to go hit some trails. So yeah, I was like,
let me ask you, how desperate were you? Would you be cool going to Sedona and doing a pink Jeep tour?
At that point, yes, I was that ready.
You're super desperate.
I was so desperate and so my mother-in-law was fantastic. Like, when our last day there, we were like, we're done. We need, because we were there for a death in the family, so we were stranded. So she came and got us, and we ended up going hiking. And we did out by Florence. There's a hiking trail, the Apache Tears Trail.
Okay.
So you actually get to go pick up stones that are supposed to be the Apache's tears and chisel them out of the rocks and stuff like that. But I was so excited to hike or just get the hell outside and do something. But yes, I would have done a Sedona pink tour.
That's desperate, yeah.
Have
you ever done the Florence Box Canyon?
I have not, and I've seen your video, and I want to go.
That's a cool trail. There's so much cool, those type of like canyons and desert and all of that in Arizona. There's just a lot to do in Arizona.
Well, my kids make fun of me because I always tell them every time we hit the valley that I have to go see my mountain. I have to go see the superstitions. Like, that is just gorgeous. And they're like, Mom, stop. And anywhere we drive around, I'm like, there's my mountain. They're like, oh my God, please.
Or Montana Mountain Trail.
Yeah.
Have you done that one?
No, we moved. I didn't get into overlanding until after moving to Oklahoma.
Okay.
So.
Well, now look, you have a whole list of places to go to see when you're in Arizona.
Now you got to go back.
I got to go back without the reason of a funeral. But I got to go back and spend like a week just hitting trails in the valley alone. And then
in the wintertime.
In the wintertime.
Yeah.
And then, go to Sedona. But I don't want to do Sedona in the winter. I want to do Sedona like springtime.
Fall, spring, yeah.
So I only other than just flying in and out of Arizona, when I went to Expo West in 2019, 2021, whatever
I thought it was 21.
It was 21. Kelly, do you know what an Opus camper is? You know what they are, right? Opus. All right.
Yeah, everyone's seen them on 4-wheel drive 24/7 getting dragged around.
So
Australia.
I did some work for them and hauled campers to all these shows and did adventure, all this stuff for them. Anyway,
wait, were you there on the year where the British guy was there selling Opus? He wasn't Australian; he was British.
Yeah, Paul.
Okay, yeah, I actually interviewed him that year for the Opus because I was like, oh, Opus is here. I'm going to interview him. So yeah.
I was probably standing right around there, but there was
nobody pays him attention.
Yeah, that's okay. I actually left the expo and took a brand new customer trailer that was there on display down to Phoenix to Tom's Camperland, and I had this genius idea that I was just going to make the best of this whole trip. So I decided to take that, whatever the back road is down to Sedona, the windy down through the canyon, as you leave Flagstaff. And I started looking on OnX. I'm like, that looks like a cool trail. That's back over to the interstate. So I'll go down this way. I'll cut across, Made me think of this because of the Pink Jeep tours. And I get to the trailhead and I go to air down and I think, well, it looks like it's rocky and a little rough. I take off on this trail and I got this big Opus behind me. And I pass a couple people and they're like, dude, what are you doing with that thing there? And so I'm bouncing and banging all over everything. And anyway, I get to the top. It's wet and nasty. I take off down the long straight that kind of heads over towards where it's more of a dirt road, not, the other end. And I get there. It's dark. I camp right near the interstate in this little pull off or whatever. The next day I take off early. It's still dark. I get down to Phoenix and it starts to get daylight and I can really see the trailer really good and realize I screwed up. I screwed up bad. It's caked in mud and this is a brand new customer trailer, never been used or anything. So I go to the Blue Beacon truck wash and I pull in and $200 later.
Oh my God. Wow.
It took me $200 to get this thing, or them. I had to pay them. And I dumped that thing off at Tom's Camperland and I was like, you know what? Let's just chalk that one up to a little bit of experience now. And
worth it.
lesson learned.
Uh-huh.
But I have to say that part of the area is really pretty. And now that I know about it more, I've seen other videos and I'm like, I want to go back and just
that's
hang
what's
out.
really cool about the expos is they're all kind of, specific to those areas, but each one has like a different trail system you can go see. Like for West, you can go to anywhere in Arizona and you can kind of overland your way through Arizona to get to West. Or like Mountain West in Colorado, you can go, I did actually led a group of influencers and a bunch of overlanders and industry, bigwigs through back road to Mountain West. And we basically started in Telluride and did like 500 miles of trails to get to Loveland for Mountain West. So there's a lot of, making not just for the expos, but actually going out and doing like a trail before or after just to make it exciting and check out that area.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I think we do that for most of the expos too, either on the way in or back out or, last year I slept in my first rooftop tent last year. And I mean, I know it sounds kind of weird to say, but I did. I was pulling that trailer of Brad's and it had one of those Rome tents on the top, and I'd never slept in one, never even opened one up. And I opened that sucker up, and I realized real quick that I was just not logistically built for climbing up and down off of that thing. Especially when it's lightning all over the place and it's, pouring down rain. And so
Perfect.
But I found some new trails.
Yeah.
That was the best part about it. I found some new trails. So yeah.
I like to do trails before Expo. That way afterwards, when I'm exhausted, I can just beeline right home and,
But then you get to showcase your rig being all dirty and stuff too at the Expo. So then it makes it look more legit than just a clean vehicle.
What we usually do is we do a little something on the way. We do the show. And then on the way back, we do a trail, but we basically base camp it. In other words, we find somewhere, we just go set up camp for a couple of days, put our feet up, and we don't do anything else. Just kind of decompress.
Get everything, I hear you.
Find a place by some running water. Find some place where you can get a little solar, but you can get some shade. Right. And a lot of my buddies, and one year we did this. Everybody headed up to the north rim of the Grand Canyon and spent like 3 days just sitting up there.
Another great area.
Yep.
They're up in the Kaibab. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
we were up at the Grand Canyon, a couple of years ago camping, but we did South Rim. And now my goal is to go back and do Antelope Canyon and the Grand Canyon, but to hit the north side and head up to Utah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what Arizona has that I kind of want to do. Oh. Now, everybody hear me out, because I know I'm going to take some hate mail for this. I always, when I say stuff like this, I'll get an email. I know, or I'll get a messenger that says you're an idiot or something. But for the
he said it.
Yeah. For the sake of entertainment purposes, I want to go to Schoolypalooza that's out there that they host at the border of Arizona, and California out that way.
Yeah.
I want to go because I see these videos and I'm like, okay, this looks entertaining. Now, I'm just saying, if you've ever watched the videos, it looks entertaining. And I'm that guy that likes to go. If my wife goes somewhere, she's like, can you go? I'm like, yeah, I'll sit there and just people watch. And that's what Schoolypalooza is for me. It would be people watching.
Super interesting people that do schoolies, but then you have to look at the craftsmanship that people put into these schoolies is out of this world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, where I'm like, wow, like they literally built this out to look like a freaking
Taj Mahal.
Mansion. Inside of this school bus. Like that's
and you know what really blows my mind is you'll watch some of these videos, because at one point I even looked at it and said, hey man, why don't we buy one of these old buses and convert it? I just thought about flipping it just for something. And I started watching videos, and I know I'll take some hate mail for this probably too, but I never envisioned that women had the craft skills of building that they do. And I was just so impressed with some of these gals that just got in there, and they were skill saws, jigsaws, whatever. And they built some beautiful buses. And as a matter of fact, some of them, when you were inside them, you didn't know it was a bus.
Right.
It was so nice.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say I'm offended at the fact that you don't realize women can use the tools, because we can. Just saying, I took care of it, ladies. But I can say for me, I do not have the imagination to be able to pull that off and to envision it.
Yeah, I think I probably would struggle that too. Trying to see something and then actually make it come to life. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone has their own skill sets, and honestly, with the resource of YouTube now, like most of my remodel I've been doing, like I'm a super handy guy, but I like plumbing. I am a terrible plumber. Everything I know about plumbing, I learned on YouTube. So, I mean, if you have just that little bit of like, oh, I think I want to do this, get on YouTube, research it. You're like, I can do that. Like, that guy that, only has one arm can do it. I can do it, So it's anything's possible.
I agree. Like that whole Schoolypalooza thing, if you see some of the stuff that they've produced, you're like, okay, damn, that's impressive. But but it's the party part of it. It's all the other things that revolve around that I want to go sit and watch.
Right.
But, just to say I did it, it's one of those check the box and say, okay, I did it one time and I don't need to do it again.
I'll tell you right now that if you are in Arizona and after you go to Schoolypalooza, if you want to do the best trail in Arizona, it is by far the Arizona BDR is the best trail in Arizona.
I've watched the video.
To be able to see the entire Arizona state end to end in one continuous trail that's 90% dirt.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool transition going from, like, you get down to that Mexican border and you think like Mexican border, you think, saguaros and dirt and dunes and all that stuff. There's grasslands down there, trees, forests, it's
really?
Yeah, it's, the Sinaloan desert is odd desert because it goes these like ebbs and flows of, high plains to kind of like straight into like gnarly sand, rocky desert, and it kind of hits everything you think Arizona is about this much. But as a whole, it is just so terrain diverse. It's a really cool trail because you go all the way from Mexico to Utah. So you have to go through Flagstaff. So you're going up in the mountains. So you're in the pine trees.
And so you're going to see the pines. Everyone gets so excited to see the pine trees.
Yeah.
Damn. I watched those, the BDR video series that the adventure bike guys put out, whatever it's called. Speaking of which, do you still ride any? Or
I actually got rid of my bike because my buddy Joe was going to get me killed. So.
Well, you know what? It's good that you recognize that he was going to do that.
Yeah. We were just continuing further and further, and we did the Colorado BDR end to end, and being on like Ophir Pass on a 800-pound fully loaded adventure bike on those baby heads, and with a 1,000-foot drop off the side, kind of took stock of my life and said, this is probably going to be more enjoyable in an overland rig.
It kind of flashed in front of you, and you're like, wait a minute, what am I doing?
Yeah. And honestly, we still have arguments about it because I see the dude almost every day. He still has his bike. He does adventures with his son all the time. And he's like, dude, you got to get a bike. You got to go. And I'm like, it's like, you don't understand. Like, an overland adventure is so much more enjoyable for me personally, because when you're on a bike, it's physically exhausting. You get into camp every night and you are just wiped because it is so much work. You don't get to enjoy the scenery as much because you're so focused on the trail directly ahead of you. Especially, obviously not in every trail, but in Colorado where you're really focused on that trail with some pretty large fault drop off on either side. But you miss everything around you because you are so in the moment of just not dying. But then you get in a truck and you're like, I did the same trail. I did the Colorado BDR. My brother and I did it end to end, or almost end to end, and doing these same trails. I'm eating freaking red vines, drinking, Gatorade, and we're on the same trails, and I'm in flip flops. Like, it's a totally different experience.
No, I can see that because I've had somewhat of the thought process of I wanted to try the adventure bike thing a little bit, but I knew that it was going to be a challenge, and that's actually a really good way to put it. It kind of makes me think, okay, I'm doing it the right way. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
It doesn't sound like something I would want to do either.
Yeah. Well, it really is. It's a major skill. Like, doing sand on a big adventure bike is level 10 skill set. If you can actually accomplish that, it is work and it's exhausting, but it's because you're immersed in the environment. There's no getting around it. If it's raining, you're getting wet. If it's hot, you're hot. So you get that full, VR experience on an adventure bike because you're really in it. You can smell every smell. There's no closing yourself off from anything on the outside. So you're in it, but it's, you have to really commit to everything on an adventure bike. It's a lot.
Ashley,
what?
If you want inspiration, here's what you need to do.
I'm really afraid of where this is going to go.
No. This will blow your mind. When we get done with the show, jump on YouTube and look up Jocelyn Snow.
Okay.
She's cool.
She's 5'2".
Yeah.
Okay.
And she rides a full BMW 1200 series.
Wow.
When she stops, she jumps off the bike to hold it up. She can't put her feet down to hold the bike up.
Okay, so basically you're saying she's only half an inch taller than I am. So
But I'm telling you that if she could do it, that's not to say that you couldn't do it, but you can do it. But she's an inspiration to a lot of ladies.
sounds like it.
Probably been on the fence about it, but when you watch her, I mean, she instructs people, she teaches, and she's got her own like road course at her place that you can come and go through this. But literally, she's 5'2".
Yeah.
And when she stops the bike, she has to jump off. Am I right, Kelly?
Oh yeah. And she's like, just, I've actually seen her. She did a documentary with BDR, like the actual like backcountry discovery route creator. And I think she did like the Wyoming route when they opened that, the first one to officially do the route for Wyoming. She's super badass. But she was one of the people where if I was like, oh man, like I really want to learn how to do this skill, I would kind of research her videos because she has just a really great way of kind of, for me, like just dumbing things down to like, all right, this is the basic skill set you need to learn to be able to accomplish this. Like if you want to get up a rocky hill climb, you know, you need to stay in the saddle, you need to stand up, you need to be neutral on the bike, you know, like very, not a lot of like fluff with it. Just, you know, like my brain works in like, let's work on the basics first, then we can get into the more finer detail of it, but just give me the meat potatoes first. And she's definitely that way. She's very good instructor. She's amazing to watch on a BMW because those are big bikes and she manhandles that thing like it's a child.
I love it. Oh my God. Okay. No.
Jeff says he'll follow behind you in the van.
Because like to me, the adventure bike sounds like fun for like Arkansas, for the Ozarks, because they are so narrow. You could get into so many more places that you can't with your rig. Plus I'm tired of basically every time I wheel in the Ozarks, my 4Runner comes out looking like it's been attacked. So I don't recommend taking a black vehicle through the Ozarks. It's just, it's all going to show.
Yeah. Jocelyn just, I think the way she talks and teaches or just talks in general in her videos is in a tone and a manner that doesn't intimidate other people. And it makes you feel like, hey, okay, if I just take stock in what she's telling me, I could work into this, or I could get to this point. She doesn't like, I don't know. She doesn't make it sound like everything.
She doesn't come across condescending to you when you're talking to her. That's awesome.
No, not at all.
I love it.
As a matter of fact, she strikes me as the kind of person that I think if you ran into her in person and you just said, hey, I'm struggling with this, she would, if time allowed, I think she would just say, hey, this is what you need to do. Or she would be that kind of person. Not that she would just kind of, you know, brush her off or whatever, but she's a pretty rad chick, man.
That's awesome.
I gotta say. So
maybe I need to talk to her and see about having her join the show and
give some stuff. Jeff, listen, if you're listening, I know Jeff's listening. So Jeff, here's the deal. Ashley doesn't need a bike. Just buy her a Vespa and one of those, you know, like Urkel used to ride the little Vespa,
why?
And let her have that to practice on. And if she doesn't kill herself on that, then step her up to a Yamaha YZ50. You're small enough you can ride a YZ50.
At least you're not saying a little 50cc dirt bike.
That's what a YZ50 is.
Okay.
So let me tell you something really. Let me tell you something really cool that actually you would actually appreciate as far as like bikes go.
Okay.
The BMW, like the 1200s, even though they're a really big bike, once you get that bike rolling, the weight disappears. Yeah. And plus the heads are so wide on it because of the way the heads are shaped. They make crash bars that basically go out. So when the bike tips over, it doesn't actually tip on its side. It's like this. Yeah. So all you're doing is basically you grab it from behind and you kind of do just a squat, and you can lift that bike kind of up, and you're, you know, because it's already at this angle where you're just doing this to it.
Okay.
Unless, of course, you're at like 12,000 feet and you're on a grade of rocky, and then you might have some more.
And you're out of breath, and you know.
Oh, you saw that, did you?
Yeah. Knowing my luck, I'd be the person that makes it fall over on myself, and then I'm stuck and can't get out. So
Steve says just stay on 4 wheels.
I mean, it's probably the best advice for me. I'm just being completely honest. My daughter is extremely accident prone, and a couple of days ago, I realized where she got it from. So, yeah.
Just now?
Okay, when I jumped up out of the bed because the dog started yipping like something like he was hurt, and somehow bruised myself in 2 places. And I don't even know what I did. I just jumped up out of the bed. I'm like, okay, now I see where she gets it. It's
That's
bad.
So
Well-
here's a quick moto overland rig crossover story.
Okay.
My brother and I were doing a backcountry route to get to Mountain West in Colorado. We're in this backcountry. We're just going along, and this group of motorcycles they were kind of up the way. So we saw them coming, and it was a big group. So we're like, all right, let's let them come past. It's a narrow road. So we actually found a pull off, and the 2 of us just pulled off, let them come through. And we're like, hey, what's up, guys? They're like, hey, what's going on? So they go on. They're like, hey, we've got a larger group kind of behind us. We're doing a training session, and we're group A, they're group B. We're like, all right, cool. They're like, yeah. So we're like, all right, we'll wait. So we waited, and then no one came. We're like, all right, maybe they turned off. So we proceed down. And they had basically come up the way we came up, and I don't know, something happened where they ended up turning around. Well, their last guy ended up, I don't remember what kind of bike he had, but it was really steep cliffside. Well, he had basically gotten sideways on this bike, and he had just jumped off the bike, and the bike, he basically was going over the edge. Well, he managed to get himself to stay on the shelf road, but his bike went down like 8 feet. On this side of this cliff edge. So we're like, oh my God. So we basically rolled up, and he was there by himself. And I was like, I want to see my brothers in front of me. And I was like, hey, Trev, like, I think the guy might be, he's all like, oh, I asked him if he's all right. And I looked at him and I'm like, oh, he's in pure shock. Like his pupils were like,
I just saw death.
Yeah. So I stopped him like, are you okay, man? He's all like, oh, I'm fine. And I'm like, you don't look fine. So one of the instructors came back up, and he's like, hey, what happened? I'm like, he was just sitting here. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, oh, his bike's down there. And they're like, holy shit. So they were like trying to figure out how they're going to get their bike, recover the bike up from over the cliff. And I'm like, well, I have a winch on my truck. I can 100% help you out. So we actually got video of us winching out this adventure bike that had gone over the cliff. And, we're running the winch, and I'm getting video of it. And they're, there's like this chick, Cassie, who's just super cool. She was one of their instructors at the time. I wasn't lead instructor, but she was, telling all the guys what to do. She's like, all right, now lift. And she's pulling, and they're pulling and trying to get this thing up. It was a challenge, but it was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good that you were there at that moment.
So I'm glad you guys were there, but
he's like, it would have taken us hours to get a bike up. Those bikes are heavy, and to try to pull them uphill when it's loose and gravelly. And would have been a challenge.
Before we go, what's your favorite YouTube channel to watch? Who do you enjoy watching? Not, it had to be one, but just shoot us off one. Who is it that gives you inspiration?
Honestly, Expedition Overland. Okay. EXO is kind of my guilty pleasure. They just have such amazing content. I've hung out with Clay before, and those guys are all just so cool, just super down to earth. They're kind of one of the OGs. Like I got an adventure bike riding after watching Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman do the whole long way round and all those. That was my this is why I want to ride. And EXO was why I wanted to overland, just watching their early videos, and because they're definitely one of the OGs, but they're just their cinematography is just off the charts.
It really is.
Yeah.
They put a lot of work and effort into it.
Yeah.
They're just amazing people though. Like I got a chance to meet them, and they're just absolute sweethearts. And took the time to talk to me on my first expo at Moore. So I loved it. That's cool.
Yeah, they're super, super cool.
Anybody else?
Man, really put me on the spot here, buddy.
Be careful what you say.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying favorite, but I mean, there's certain times that I'll give you an example. Epic Family Road Trip inspires me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they're a big family. They've made it work for 6-7 years, whatever it is. They've overcome and adapted. You've been able to watch things, even the good and bad, when Peter had his insulin, they didn't know he was insulin. independent or dependent, I guess, as what it is. And I mean, so they inspire me, and so do a lot of others. So it's not necessarily my favorite, but Marco, he inspires me because he cooks so well. So much so that my new AI creator platform that I just built, which I'm going to do a shameless plug here, has a cooking bot named Marco Peaks. And
That's awesome.
Marco, you can say, hey, Marco, I have these ingredients. What can I make? And my AI that I've been training for the last 5 or 6 months will spit out an idea for a recipe. Not only will it give you the idea, it'll give you the recipe, and it'll give you the shopping list to go get the rest of the stuff that you need.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So, yeah.
And plus, honestly, Marco's a good dude. Like,
he is
I've met him a few times at the expos, and he is just a really good guy.
Yeah, he is one of those. If there ever, the term "a prince of a guy." Have you ever heard that term? Somebody says that, man, that guy's he's like a prince. He's just so nice. He's so. Right. He always has a smile. He always welcomes you. He always has something pleasant and kind to say. He is just that kind of guy.
Yeah. Okay, so now that I've had a second to think about it, Nate from Dirt Lifestyles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's another one that because I like to fabricate as well. So I just bought a 1971 Ford F-250 Highboy.
Oh, nice.
That I plan on doing a full vintage overland. That's my next thing that I want to get into. So I'm going to do like a Coyote engine and make it but you can't buy anything for that truck off the shelf. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of that building on my own. But yeah, he's another one who's just really good guy. He's just down to earth.
Chad says Nate's stuff. Yeah, I enjoy watching his videos too because one, I can't do the stuff that he does.
He's super talented.
But it's really cool to watch somebody do it and explain it the way he does.
Right.
It's not over your head. It makes you feel like you could do it when you watch his videos, but I couldn't do it. So
here's a little funny side story before we go. I was coming back from Overland Expo, Mountain West in Colorado, and just driving through these big mountains. And I drive past this rest stop, and I see his RV with the Discovery on a trailer behind it. And I was like, oh my God, that's Nate, And I'm all like, yeah, maybe I should stop and say hi. I'm probably never going to see this guy, So I was like, all right. So I drove the wrong way up the off ramp,
right on,
and parked my Tacoma next to his and walked up, and he's in there eating lunch with his family. And I was like, oh man, I feel like a dick. I'm like, all right, well, I might as well. I'm already here. So I just waved at him, and he's like, hey, and I'm like, yeah, come out. So I gave him a sticker, and I'm like, hey man, I watch your channel. You're super cool, very inspiring. And you could tell he wasn't super happy, but he was like, yeah, man, thanks. I really appreciate it. And then I ended up seeing him probably a year later at Overland Expo PNW. And I'm like, oh, hey man, my name's Kelly, and I actually stopped you with your family in the RV. He's like, oh, I remember. I'm like, damn it. I'm like, well, sorry, man. He's like, it's fine. He's like, I'm totally used to it. So,
yeah, I'd say the more you grow your YouTube channel and the more you become known, those are just things that you have to, expect that are going to happen. And, I think that if you have that kind of thing happening to you, then you're doing something right.
Right. It's a good thing. It's, my kids laugh at me. We'll be out to eat somewhere. And this, I used to live in the city of Surprise in Arizona, and the Surprise police officer comes over, and my youngest son's with me, and he's all like, is your name Kelly? Like, yeah. He's like, do you have a YouTube channel? And I'm like, oh, okay. So
like, crap, what did I just do?
So my youngest son, he's like, oh my God, your show's awesome. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. My son's just laughing. It's hysterical.
What was the name of where was that at? Surprise,
Arizona. Yep. That's the
it's a little town just south of the valley.
Yeah. Like a little suburb, basically.
Is that is it near Sun City?
It is near Sun City. Yep.
Dude, Sun City. That's heaven's waiting ground. That's heaven's waiting room. Them old people in there, they're
Yeah.
there to die.
Some of them
And-
are, but they
Yeah.
Lee,
What? I'm
behave.
serious. And not only that, but they drive around them golf carts like freaking crazy people.
They do that in Mesa too. So
No, like literally, I get there, and I mean, not only do I get almost run over by a couple of guys in golf carts, but one guy actually flipped me off.
what, did you deserve it?
Well, no, I mean, I stopped at the stop sign. I'm like trying to make sure I got the right direction where I'm going to this guy's house, and I get there and I'm like, dude, this is like heaven's waiting room. There's nothing but old people here.
They have a bunch of activities though for older people. But
Yeah.
Right.
But I will say this: they had the best grapefruit and oranges I've ever had in my life. Came out of this guy's
right
backyard.
off the tree.
there.
Yep.
Right off the
Damn,
tree.
I've never had anything like that. He's like, you got to try one if you like them. He goes, I'll send you home with boxes. And I'm like, well, I like grapefruit and I like oranges, but I mean, whatever. So his wife gets one and she cuts it, and I'm like, okay, I'll take a box. I mean, they were like, I don't know why I don't have those here. Jesus, those things are good. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've come up on our hour. We've surpassed our hour a little bit. We've had a great time. It's been awesome to get to know you, Kelly. Before we go, tell everybody how they can find you, which I know we've kind of already talked to it, but at the end of the show, we like to have you tell us where all your socials are, what's the best way to get a hold of you, your cell phone number.
We said the way that people can torment you is what we need to know.
All right. Definitely Instagram is a good way if you want to get in contact with me for anything. Messaging is, that's the best way to get me on Messenger. Otherwise, just check out the videos on YouTube. That's kind of that's my bread and butter. And that's where building the tribe and, getting all the videos out.
Yeah. Make sure you go subscribe to his YouTube channel and follow him on Instagram and then do the same thing for Ashley in Wander, Oklahoma, and then do the same thing for Overland Radio. Cause we'd love to have you as part of our tribe. I don't know. We're in Oklahoma. We can legitimately say tribe.
You can.
It's not politically incorrect. Like last week.
I'm not affiliated. I am not affiliated with him.
No,
so I'll do a quick shameless plug here for what my most recent YouTube video. I actually did a trip in Moab with a bunch of. Oh, did you see it? With Overland Under Budget and Fab Rats and Rudy's Adventure Design. Went out, dented up the side of my rig.
Something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Overlander schooled by.
Yeah. We got schooled. And but we ended up getting turned around. Micah got really, really nervous rolling his rig on that last obstacle going up Hamburger Hill. And he's like, dude, I'm not doing it. He's like, can you come back with me? And I'm all like, all right, but you owe me. So it was,
you know what?
Turn around.
Hats off to the guy that knows his limitations.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Micah, another good dude. His channel's awesome. He is like one of the nicest people you will ever meet, by 100%. Like he's that guy. Everyone's like, oh, he's the guy that take his shirt off his back. Micah will literally take the shirt off his back and give it to you if you needed it.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Those people are hard to find.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it really is. Well, we appreciate you coming on, hanging out with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I'm going to do the wrap up. And so for everybody else, we appreciate you coming and letting us do the show tonight and you tuning in. And Ashley, thanks for hanging out with us and
letting you torment me week after week.
I didn't torment you. Look, I made no midget jokes this week. I didn't do none of that stuff.
And there they go.
So,
there they are. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you for joining us. It's been a blast.
Thanks again. We'll be back, everybody.